morning, y'all. It's DriftlessBiker. It is the third day of this trip, heading north through the sand hills of northern Nebraska towards the Black Hills. Spent last night with a buddy of mine and his wife and their two little girls. It's always good to see them. We've been friends for well over 30 years. We don't see each other very much anymore, and it's always good when we get the chance to get together. Generally makes for a short night of sleep, but that's all right. It's worth every minute of it to spend as much time as we can together. And you know, it's one of those friendships where you can go 5 years and not see each other, and you pick up right where you left off. That's where him and I have been. Now this time had been less than a year, which is nice. He's a heck of a lot closer than he's been for a lot of years, and with me making trips out this way every now and then, it's not that far out of my way to swing down and visit him. And it gets me off I-90, which I prefer. So definitely worthwhile for me to get a little bit of a side trip. And I-90 is pretty interesting, pretty boring, where this has been some nice interesting scenery to look at and just a good little side trip. Get on ADV Fest starts in 2 hours. Registration starts, less than. And I am 3 hours away, so I'm sitting in a good position. 10 a.m. was the earliest I could get there anyway, and it's 8:17, so I'm in a good spot. I will hopefully get out a little bit today. I don't know how much riding I'm going to do today once I get in. At least of this bike, I may try and get in and do a couple demos or something like that. So beyond that, I'm excited as hell to get there and participate, get my camp set, and just get the chance to chill and have some fun. Unfortunately, I looked at the forecast for this weekend, and the heat gets turned on Sunday. I mean, it's going to be warm, but not ridiculous tomorrow and the next day. Sunday, on the other hand, it's going to get hot, up into the 90s. Monday, even worse out here. So I got to be a little bit thinking about that for my road home. I hate I-90, but I have a feeling I'm probably going to just take I-90 and hammer as fast as I can to get as far east as I can, as quickly as I can, get across it and get home safe, get some stuff done. But who knows? We'll see what happens come Sunday. See how I'm feeling, what I want to do. It's kind of nice to have that. I took an extra day on Monday just because I never know what I'm going to get on the road, what I'm going to do. So gave myself an extra day to make sure I had time. Man, the sand hills are something. It's wide open country, sort of. My buddy Cody took me for a ride last night side by side and showed me there's just big old holes that just all of a sudden you're going along and there's just a hole. Not like a bottomless hole or something, but there's a pretty good little, for lack of a better description, if you ever baked and you take a jug of flour or a container of flour and you reach in and you scoop out a cup and just do it nice and neat and clean, and you got that big divot. Well, it's sort of like that. There are areas where there's just divots in the landscape, and really, I mean, it's just a unique situation. And looking from up high, it looks like the sand on the beach, but it's just got grass over the top. It's pretty cool. And it's pretty country in its own way. It's a little different, but it's still pretty. And I got to beat feet north because they've got chances of rain starting at about 11 here. So about 2.5 hours from now, they've got a chance of rain from then until 5 o'clock. So I'd rather not get wet again today. It's not my favorite way to travel, shall we say. So crossing into South Dakota and the Ogallala Lakota Nation tribal lands. That's a side of the Badlands I've never seen before. That's really freaking cool. Just cruising along, all of a sudden there's a sign for a Badlands Scenic Overlook. And wow. I've been to the Badlands, I don't know, many times. A fair number of times anyway, and never saw that part of it. Worth a few minutes stop just to check it out, and gives my body a little break, get a chance to get up off the bike, stretch my hips out a little bit by moving them. Getting out to check out one of the planned routes for the Get On ADV Fest. Intro to moderate. With my shoulder still not 100%, I'm not most likely not going to be getting into the real serious stuff. I am far from from a beginner, but I'm also not an expert by any means, and I'm extremely fat this year, and still, like I said, still not 100% with that shoulder, and as a result, I'm going to be smart and make the decision to ride more moderate routes and not push myself to the point where there's likelihood of me dropping the bike and hurting myself again. And if I hurt myself again, my wife will kick my ass. So I'm going to just be careful to not do that. And you know what? You can have fun and ride smart and be safe and not do stupid stuff. And that's my intention, to do smart stuff and not stupid stuff. I wonder if Yamaha of Sturgis would have the part that I head brake. I changed out to my smaller windshield, and when I did, one of the rubber crumple bolt nuts shredded, and I've got another one that's ripped, so I need to get a couple of them, and I wonder if they might have them in stock. I think they're right here close, if I remember right. It's been a couple of years since I've been there, but I have a couple extra ones at home. I need to make sure I throw them into my toolkit, actually.
this is future Troy. As I'm editing this, I realized that I kind of ended my video a little bit abruptly. And the main reason for that was just a couple minutes after this, I came upon a gentleman who was having a bad day, we'll say. He was tired and pushing his limits and had hit a washout, went down fairly hard. He wasn't bleeding, he was conscious. I was the very first person on scene, and to the point where the dust hadn't even settled from him going down. I saw the puff of dirt from him going down. I talked to him later in the week. He ended up with a few broken ribs and some other injuries, but nothing life-threatening by any means. And I actually found another condition that resulted in him getting some medical treatment for something that he probably wouldn't have found in time. So him going down was a blessing in the long term, but at the time, it most certainly caused me to reevaluate, check my ego a little bit, and evaluate what I was going to ride this week while I was there, and make sure that I got home safely and not injured worse than I already was. So I made the decision to turn around, because I was actually taking the route backwards, because I was having trouble with the route line all week. I will say that. Within Rever, the route line has chevrons in the route line, but they're very small, and I was not wearing my glasses, because I normally don't when I ride, and I couldn't differentiate the direction of the route line. And actually, I talked with the guys at Rever. They appreciated the feedback, and it was something they're going to try and correct going forward. But yeah, that's why video shut down. Like I said, the individual in question, to the best of my knowledge, is fine. I talked to him later in the week a couple of times, and he seemed to be doing pretty well. But I made the decision to back out and reevaluate. And, I've got a couple more days of riding videos coming from this trip. Several more days, actually. And we'll see what I did.